I'm hoping to have Io Johnson. Io, are you there?
I'm here. Thanks a lot for having me.
Io, thank you so much, before we go any further, for giving your time to Ipswich Community Radio to talk about the South African elections. Now, you're a journalist and you specialise in African current affairs. So I'm looking to you to lead us and give us some information about what did happen in the elections this week.
Yes, it's been a fantastic elections, I must say. On balance, the elections themselves were free and fair. Observers, international observers, that is, and local ones actually gave the thumbs up to the elections, with the exception of a few issues here and there. We must say South Africans should be extremely, extremely proud that they've been able to provide and produce on the world stage, that is, elections to be condemned. The issue we've always had with elections across Africa is that they've usually been marred with violence, issues around corruption and a few other issues, and that we did not this time around. So South Africans should be extremely proud. We've got on the South Africa, we've got the ANC, who have been in power for some time, over the last 15 years. It was no surprise that they came up on trumps. They were not exactly happy the fact that they couldn't achieve the magical 2/3 majority, which is what they were looking for, especially to be able to change the constitution and to be able to govern that much more better than they've done previously. Right. And that's indicative of the fact that the other parties, mainly that of the Democratic Alliance and that of COPE, which is the Congress of the People, who were recently formed, they're an offshoot of the ANC themselves, did exceptionally well and ate into those credits that the ANC had been able to build over time. So it means that the ANC are going to be slightly lame in the fact that they're not going to be able to govern as much as they would otherwise have liked. It also stems from the fact that the international community, especially that of the large organizations in South Africa, the business side of things, were very concerned that their leader, Zuma, was not necessarily the best chosen candidate for the job. And it was that concern which has now been realized, the fact that at least, even though the ANC have won, they do not have the ability to make real changes. And to an extent, it's better it's happened that way, because it means that a lot of businesses that would otherwise have left the country, a lot of investors who were very concerned can now actually stay put. The other issues we've had around the Zuma man himself, Mr. Zuma, who's now going to become President Zuma, has been the fact that he's fought a long and bitter campaign against his former rival, that was Thabo Mbeki. Thabo Mbeki was the former president of South Africa, and they had endless conflicts verbally, in public, and that actually caused the split of the ANC. And what you have is Zuma, who himself was sacked by Thabo Mbeki back in 2005, especially when he was deputy leader of the ANC. And so you've got this tit-for-tat backbiting that's been going on within the ANC for some time. And of course, last year, September, it reached a deadlock where Thabo Mbeki himself lost a vote of no confidence by the ANC, and the writing was on the wall for him to leave. It meant that Motlanthe had to take power. He became a caretaker leader, leading on to the elections, which we've seen now that Zuma has won. But Zuma, I'm afraid, has been dogged with a lot of corruption issues. Corruption has surrounded him for many, many, many years. And, of course, rightfully so, recently he was found not guilty. But again, issues surrounding his marital affairs and issues with women have actually dogged his campaign. He's been known to have had a relationship with a lady who's known to have HIV. In fact, it led to a rape charge, and for want of a better word, Mr. Zuma himself made some ill-judged comments on these elections in court, and he actually stated that he'd had a shower to wash away any viruses or diseases that he may have picked up. Again, quite ill-judged.
Yes.
And of course, when you think about all of this wrapped up into this enigma of a man, you wonder what type of a leader will he make.
Well, this is what we're wondering. What type of a leader will he make? What do you think?
Well, I think personally he may surprise everyone, because clearly he's shown he's a fighter. He's very, very popular. He's popular within the ANC. He's popular within his people. Lots of people generally like him. He's very, very persuasive in the fashion in which he explains himself. He's ever so eager to sing a song, do a usual dance. He's a very proud Zulu warrior, and that comes across. The problems we have are around issues of polygamy and that relationship with women, and that has dogged his campaign and dogged him for some time.
Because he's the first Zulu, isn't he?
He is very much so.
Yes.
He's a Zulu, but the thing is, it's his mindset. I think we've got to give him the benefit of the doubt that he may have learned for some of the lessons and some of the mistakes he's made in the past, and hopefully he may become a better leader. At the moment, he's got problems because South Africa, the population of South Africa is close to about 43 or 45 odd million, depending on which statistics you're looking at. But in general, the tax-paying population is only about 5 million.
Really? Okay.
Of which half of that are traditional indigenous white South Africans. And they more than likely have second passports, either be it with British passports or American passport, New Zealand or Canadian or whatever. And they are very eager and very concerned the fact that Zuma is in power or about to take power. And large numbers of them would have threatened to leave that country. We hope that don't come to pass. And we hope that, especially as the ANC have not been able to get that two-thirds majority, which would have meant they would have been able to make radical changes, this has now become impossible, because they would have to galvanize support above and beyond their party, and try and get some of the other smaller parties to support them. But as we've seen clearly from the elections, the smaller parties clearly have ambitions above and beyond their small nature to one day rule South Africa. If we take a little bit of a focus and look at Democratic Alliance, that's run and motivated and ruled by Helen Zille. Helen Zille is a typical traditional white South African. She's been compared with the great Obama.
Really? Okay.
Well, so they're saying that because of the fact that Obama was able to achieve, go beyond the race and class issue, become the president of the United States despite a white-dominated country. And similarly so, Helen Zille, with her successes with the Democratic Alliance, the fact that she's been able to win in the Cape Valley, Western Cape, that is, that she could become the next South African president at some stage, and she's hoping that she'll be able to, South Africans will be able to cross the racial boundaries and the racial barriers that they've always had with race, and for us to see a white leader dominating an African country. So again, there are these comparisons being made in many circles, clearly because of the successes that she's had within a very short period of time. And if that continues, if that momentum continues, then it can become realized. The issue she's going to have, if I may just touch on that, the issues she's going to have are the fact that she relies predominantly on young South Africans. South Africans who've never appreciated the struggle of apartheid, and those older South Africans who were there through the liberation movement, those who've always supported the ANC, and in fact look at the ANC above and beyond the party as a symbol of recognition of that struggle. Only those younger ones would want to vote for the DA. And so as we go through the generations within the next couple of elections, over the next 10 years, I would say, it's more than likely the ANC would lose support over time. As these elder statesmen, as I'd like to call them, sort of phase out.
Sure.
And the new younger generation who've never appreciated apartheid, who've never understood the movement, who've never really understood what the ANC stands for, would now start asking the right questions, which is, why are we still poor? Why there's so much inequality? Where are there issues here and there? And start looking to these other newer parties, like the DA, like COPE, and so on and so forth.
Okay.